In the age of legends, the ancient land of Britannia awaits its new king. In this proud realm of knights and citadels, every living soul feels that a time of wonders and magic has come. The fairy lords have returned, but even they are swept away by the coming tide of mayhem. Prepare for a war, the like of which has never been seen before. Rule your destiny.
Hey guys, this is Solhi and welcome to Let's Play King Arthur. So, trying to just pick some sort of game that I can just jump into for a little while, maybe not fully complete. And in the past, I've gotten a lot of people ask for like RTS type games and Total War. And I was talking to Chester and I was saying, you know, a lot of people have asked in the past for RTS / Total War, and I want to do something very different from Skyrim and just general RPG-ness because I've been doing so much of that lately, and when Skyrim comes out I'll be doing more of it. And he said, if you're thinking about playing Total War, play King Arthur instead, because King Arthur is awesome. Apparently Chester has sunk many hours into this game. So I was like, okay, so $30, I picked it up, and I played for about 2 hours already. I'm going to start over, obviously, but I think it'll work. I have some concerns about the combat, but I have a feeling that I'm just doing it wrong, and then whether Chester watches these videos and tells me what I'm doing wrong, or any of you who played this type of game, because I'm not used to this type of RPG, or not RPG, but RTS. It's very different from the normal. I'm more of a StarCraft type of RTS player, but this sort of tactical is a bit weird for me. I'm gonna go with normal. And another intro scene.
It all began in the darkest years of Britannia, after Uther Pendragon, the last great king, died. It was then that the wizard Merlin summoned the warring rulers from their petty kingdoms. They all saw a great stone, and in the middle there was a sword inscribed with strange letters that said, "Only the true king can pull out this sword." When Arthur, the son of Uther Pendragon, pulled the sword out of the stone, suddenly everything changed in Britannia. In the wilderness, monsters awoke from their sleep. The air crackled around ancient stone circles. Something terrible happened, a cataclysm that changed the land and unleashed the tide of a terrible war. The ancient race of the Sidhe returned from the realm of twilight and thorns. And then came the knights. They were like giants wearing black steel and wielding strange weapons. They were powerful and invincible warriors. They might be the only hope in this age of wonders and mayhem. So begins the tale of King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table.
Book of Beginnings, Chapter 1. So yeah, this is very different from what I've done in the past, and that's sort of the point here, is just a sort of in between Skyrim, while I only have Fallout New Vegas, sort of just throw in a couple of these RTS gameplay ones just to break things up and have something
I am your foster father, and I brought you up as my own flesh and blood. You are my king, and I promise that I shall not fail you. However, you are still inexperienced with the ways of warfare. I would be glad if I could give you advice from time to time. And please accept the sword of my son, your foster brother, Sir Kay, who will be your faithful knight.
Cool. So pretty much the whole first chapter is a tutorial. So this is the tutorial panel. You can disable and re-enable tutorials at any time in the options. However, we advise that you read them at least once. The King Arthur tutorial is not a separate section of this game. It is the part of the first chapter of your chronicles. While we are making your first steps in Britannia, you will always get a message when you meet a new option in the first chapter. Useful advice: when you're moving the mouse over something, you can see relevant data and information, blah blah blah. On the bottom of the screen, you get additional information with a pop-up window. If you move the cursor over icons on the information panel, if you skip tutorials, the pop-up will be source of information. Move your mouse over Sir Kai or his banner and press the left mouse button. The white outline means the selection was a success.
Ready to serve.
Okay. After you selected Sir Kai, move your mouse over the Rebellion Army and press the right mouse button. This selects your movement target, and the blue line shows the path there. The blue gauge next to your army represents the distance it can travel in one season. Please press the right mouse button again to go to the selected location. So, right click, see this blue line, there's this blue bar. When I just to show example, so I can really click anywhere, but if I double click, I'll go to that selected location, and I think they may have it set up so that the bar doesn't actually empty, but normally this bar would go down. I guess for the sake of the tutorial they don't do it so that I can't just like wander around and mess this up. But if I walk over here and right click, I attack. This is the battle panel. To the left you see your army, to the right you see your opponents. So my army, their army. Compare their strengths and moral and decide your next step. You can retreat, inactive for tutorial, but you will suffer some losses and the enemy might follow you. Battle takes you to the tactical map to lead the battle yourself, battle tutorial. Auto battle declares the battle at once, decides the battle at once, skip battle tutorial. I'm gonna actually go through the tutorial, of course. This is the part I feel sketchy on. I'm so used to sort of like a StarCraft type, StarCraft 1, not StarCraft 2. I haven't played much of StarCraft 2. I'm very much an old school StarCraft 1 player. I believe
your
memory
first
serves.
task is to defeat the rebels who won't accept you as their king. They have burned down the village and set up their camp around the old keep. Right, so StarCraft 1, it's very much point click and micromanage your units. This is much more like you have a tactical group of units and you want to tactically move them into position and then wait and then sort of, you know, I don't know, it's weird. I can't, you'll see in a moment. So camera controls, there's a bunch of camera controls. I'm not going to read all of that because you guys don't really need to know how I'm moving the camera around, in my opinion. Basically WSD though, and we can select things like a standard RTS. You can also map things. So Control A will select all units, and Control 1 to 9 will put them into groups, and then simply push the button to select them. So I can hit Control 1. You see that little 1 down there. I can hit Control 2 on these guys. You see that 2. I could also select a group of these guys and so go 2, and then I can hit 1, and that'll go to those 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we get some weird stuff. And then I can move. They have stamina and stuff, so the movement, I can basically double click and they'll move faster. So yeah, if I double click they'll run somewhere, but it'll use up their stamina. This green orb represents that. Or I can get them to walk just by clicking once. Game speed, I can speed up the game with these plus or minus buttons, so we can speed it up to 4, and then we can just run these guys right up to this location. So we can run them up there and these guys up here. The rebels are guarding the river, and they have brought archers with them. Kill them all. Use your spell, the Fog of Avalon.
Okay, so here we're going to get into what I'm talking about, combat, the thing that I'm not really super psyched for, but also knightly skills. Should probably be kind of flipping through this a little easier so you guys can read it if you want. Basically, every knight has sort of abilities. The knight you start with has this Fog of Avalon. Some abilities are activated, some are passive, so some are like one-time use, and you just like say use a magical ability to hit a group of enemies and do damage, and then some are like duration abilities, like Fog of Avalon. When I activate it, will make it harder for them to hit me. You can see that here in the center. It has information about what I have clicked. So decreases accuracy of all ranged units, and it's across the board as far as I can tell. Everything is affected by Fog of Avalon. Also, I can hold to set up a formation for them to walk in. Also, every time a tutorial comes up, it resets the time. How do I want to do this? Zoom out a bit. We're gonna have these guys walk up here. Same with them. And move forward. And we'll increase the game speed, so this happens a little quicker. Formations. Basically, down here we have formations, and you can flip through those. So different formations have different effectiveness. I'm still not positive on what all of them do, to be honest, but the basic ones they explain here is that if you're in a tight formation... Oh, wait. Oh, what says here what they do? I just noticed that. Yeah, so... Oh. Very high melee bonus to weak against archers. And horde, good against archers. So we'll go horde and horde for these while we're getting in close. Oh, and they've started firing, so we'll activate Fog of Avalon. And that'll make it harder for them to hit us as we move in.
Attack!
We'll have our main guys attack there. Have these guys attack here. And then split off this group to attack here. And then we'll speed all this up.